Hello, I'm Annette Pateman, and today I'm going to talk to you about my new book. I have a new book, and it's called a new children's book, a new children's picture book, and it's called Anancy and the Turtle. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce this book to you today because we're in February and it's Black History Month, and that is a very big month for Black people and for my community. And I feel very pleased to be able to introduce Anancy and some of his stories, or in this particular story, to you. So, who is Anancy? I'm sure many of you know, but for those of you who don't know who he is, Anancy is a spider. He's a spider character. Look, I've got my sort of pretend Anancy here. But he's more than a spider. He is, he originated in West Africa. The Anancy stories originated in West Africa, and they were taken through the enslaved Africans to the Caribbean and to the Americas, and then eventually around the world. So Anancy stories are very popular in Jamaica, where my parents came from, and obviously very popular in West Africa and in the Americans as well. So Anancy, as I say, he's a spider, but he's also part man. So some stories you'll see Anancy featured as a man, and with maybe 8 legs. So he might look as a frightening kind of man, but a man with sort of 8 legs, almost like a costume. And he's also a part godlike figure as well, because some Anancy stories, Anancy manages to get up to see the sky god, and a normal spider couldn't do that, a usual spider. So he is also part god. So Anancy is a trickster kind of character. He plays tricks. And he's often very mischievous and naughty, and I think this is one of the reasons he's remained popular. In Norse mythology, we have characters such as Loki, and Anancy is similar to that in many ways, the trickster kind of character that we see in lots and lots of different mythologies and folk tales around the world. So we also know that Anancy stories can be equated to the Brer Rabbit stories, because they also originated in Africa. Brer Rabbit's tales mostly went to America, the New World, as the New World America, some would refer to it. They were taken there through enslaved Africans. And so, but Anancy stories came to the Caribbean and to Jamaica, where they remain very, very popular, because they really originated in Ghana, and the Akan and Ashanti people of Ghana, which is where Anancy actually is a Ghanaian word for spider. And so he's a trickster character. And we have to ask ourselves as well, why would Anancy stories have remained so popular and intact in after some African people were enslaved and taken to the Caribbean and America? Why would Anancy stories have remained so popular? And it's thought that because Anancy is really a spider, and spiders are quite small, really, and compared to the larger animals that we can think of, maybe the lion, some of the other larger animals of Africa, elephants, hippopotamus, those sorts of larger animals. Why is it that Anancy often gets the better of these other animals, outwits them, uses his wits to outsmart these animals, and in the stories? And it's thought that Anancy stories remained popular because when the enslaved African people were talking and telling these stories, were talking to each other and telling these oral stories, these oral folk tales, it gave them hope that the weaker person could eventually outwit and outsmart the stronger person, and that they could look for better times and they would eventually overcome, and they would gain their freedom. And so it gave the story, and Anancy stories made people laugh, taught lessons, the ability to use your brains and be clever, and that it was possible for something small, like a spider, and something weaker to become stronger. And so Anancy stories gave enslaved people hope. Okay, so this particular Anancy story involves turtle. I can't even say why I chose to include turtle, but this is a story that my dad used to tell me. And actually, it's very important for me to mention that I wrote this Anancy story to remember my father and my mother, because my father used to tell a lot of Anancy stories. He was always, he was a great oral storyteller, and he told us a lot of folk tales growing up. And I wrote this story to remember him, really. My father passed away in 2015, and my mother passed away 3 months before that in 2014, December 2014. My dad passed away in March 2015, and so writing the stories was a way, and is a way, to remember both my parents. And he told me a story with turtle, and I wanted to include that. I am aware that we are on Turtle Island also, and that's the importance of that too. And I just thought this was very, very nice turtle. So I just had to, I saw this and in the shop, and I just had to buy that. So this particular book then is about Anancy the spider, who is mischievous. He decides to go fishing one day, and he catches turtle. Turtle is clever, and what happens next is in the story. Okay, I would also like to mention Sari Prawita. Sari is the artist who illustrated the book, and her illustrations are absolutely beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful. And Sari comes from Indonesia, and the book was published. I was working on the book during the lockdown, as so many of us were doing different projects, crafts, all sorts of projects, doing our best to keep fit during the lockdown. And I decided to work on this children's book. So I couldn't go and meet an illustrator in the normal way, the usual way. So I turned to online methods, and I came across Sari Prawita, and she's an excellent illustrator, and we just communicated online, and she's from Indonesia. So I'd like to thank Sari for the wonderful illustrations in this book. I would also like to thank the Ontario Arts Council, because they funded me to study fairy tales and West African and Caribbean, or Caribbean and African folk tales. And that was really, really important to me. So it gave me some time and some space through the funding of the OAC to study Caribbean and African folk tales and fairy tales, or folk tales really, from around the world. So that was really great, and it was wonderful to receive that funding. I would also like to mention the City of Thunder Bay. The City of Thunder Bay also has funded me to do some work around anti-racism, and I think that's very, very important, and I thank them for their support. So thank you to the City of Thunder Bay for doing that. I think it's important. Okay, so I'm going to read you now, as part of the launch of this book, a poem I've written about Anancy. But before I do that, I'm going to just bring in a little bit of music, a little bit of percussion, because I think it's always nice to have music at these times. This is an ocarina. It's a rather beautiful instrument that is found in South America and in the Americas. And Anancy is found in Anancy stories are found in the Americas also. So I wanted to play some of this music to honor that. I'm also going to play some thumb piano. But before I do that, I'm going to mention the cloth I'm wearing. The cloth I'm wearing is kente cloth. It's made out of strips of cloth, as you can see. And it's found, a traditional cloth found in Ghana, that people wear in Ghana. And it's, as I said, it's made out of these very beautiful, bright strips that make up a number of different designs. So I wanted to wear that in honor really of the Anancy stories. And I'm going to play some of the thumb piano that I have, and it's got a lovely sound, and it's an instrument that's found in in Africa. Thank you. Anancy. Anancy, you fancy yourself part spider, part man, part God. Created from the breath of the Akan in Ghana passed on through sweat and toil and sugar by the enslaved Africans to countries such as Jamaica, the Americas, and then around the world. Anancy, you egg eater and heart breaker, a trickster who can follow the eagle to the domain of the sky god, Nyame. Anancy, keeper of dark wisdom and magic, you traverse parallel worlds to complete your journey. You force us to face the shadow in the corner, the knock at the door, in the darkest night, the fear that lives within us all. You uncover and cause us to discover the ability to conquer the unknowable and the overwhelming, the scary and the frightening. Anancy, Spider-Man, your web is full of holes made up of the strings that make up this universe. I, the daughter of an Akan ancestor, salute you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Yes, the book is available on Amazon. It's available in paperback and in Kindle format. Thank you.